What you're about to hear was never meant for people like you. For centuries, kings and rulers kept this knowledge locked away. They passed it down in secret. They whispered it behind closed doors. They used it to control millions. Then one man broke the code. His name was Niccolò Machiavelli. In 1513 he wrote everything down. Every dirty trick, every hidden rule, every secret the powerful didn't want you to know. They banned his book immediately. The church called it evil. Politicians said it was dangerous. Rulers condemned it publicly while reading it privately. Why? Because Machiavelli didn't teach people how to be bad. He revealed how the bad were already controlling the good. He exposed the game. And the players didn't like that. Today, I'm going to share what he warned us about. This isn't theory, this isn't philosophy, this is the reality operating right now. In your workplace, in your relationships, in your life. But I need to warn you first, knowledge without action is useless. Knowledge with action is deadly. Once you see what I'm about to show you, you can't unsee it. The world will never look the same. You'll see the patterns everywhere. You'll understand why you've been losing. You'll realize who's been playing you. And you'll have a choice to make. Stay blind and comfortable. Or see clearly and become powerful. Most people choose comfort. That's why most people lose. But you clicked on this video. That means something in you is ready. Ready to see the truth. Ready to stop being played. Ready to understand the real game. Before we start, I want you to drop this in the comments right now. Type, "I'm ready to see the truth." This is your commitment. This is your point of no return. Now let's begin. The year is 1513. Niccolò Machiavelli sits in a small room. He's broke. He's powerless. He's been exiled from the city he once helped rule. But he has something more dangerous than money or power. He has knowledge. For years he watched the game from the inside. He saw how rulers really operated. He studied kings, princes, and politicians. He watched them smile in public and scheme in private. He saw good men fall. He saw evil men rise. He saw kind leaders destroyed and ruthless leaders worshipped. And he noticed a pattern. The people in power were doing the exact opposite of what they preached. They talked about honesty while they lied. They praised loyalty while they betrayed. They promised fairness while they cheated. So Machiavelli made a decision. He wrote it all down. Every secret, every tactic, every dirty truth about how power really works. He called it the Prince. But here's what most people don't understand. Machiavelli wasn't writing a how-to guide for evil rulers. He was exposing them. He was pulling back the curtain. He was showing regular people like you and me what the powerful were already doing to us. The book spread like fire, and the powerful panicked. The Catholic Church banned it immediately. They called it satanic. They said reading it was a sin. They threatened anyone who owned a copy. Politicians condemned it publicly. They called Machiavelli evil. They said his ideas were dangerous. They acted shocked and disgusted. But you know what they did privately? They studied it. Kings kept it on their nightstands. Generals memorized its lessons. Business leaders applied its principles. Every powerful person read it while pretending to hate it. Why? Because the book revealed their playbook. It exposed the tricks they'd been using for centuries. It showed regular people how the game was rigged. Think about it. If someone wrote a book explaining exactly how magicians do their tricks, would magicians celebrate it? No. They'd call it dangerous. They'd try to ban it. They'd attack the author. Not because the book is wrong, because it's right. That's exactly what happened to Machiavelli. They didn't hate the book because it taught evil. They hated it because it exposed evil. Here's what Machiavelli was really saying. I'm not showing you how to be bad. I'm showing you who's already being bad to you. He wasn't teaching you to manipulate. He was teaching you to see manipulation. He wasn't encouraging cruelty. He was warning you about the cruel. He wasn't promoting lies. He was revealing the liars. Listen to his own words. Men are so simple and so much inclined to obey immediate needs that a deceiver will never lack victims for his deceptions. Read that again. A deceiver will never lack victims. Why? Because most people refuse to believe that deception exists. They want to trust. They want to believe everyone has good intentions. They want the world to be fair. And that's exactly what makes them easy targets. Machiavelli saw this 500 years ago. He tried to warn us. He said, wake up, see the game, protect yourself. They punished him for it. They called him evil for telling the truth. Machiavelli knew something even more disturbing, something that will change how you see everything. He knew that society operates on 3 levels of truth. Most people only see the first level, the comfortable lie, the fairy tale version of how the world works. Some people wake up and see the second level, the cynical truth. Everyone's out for themselves. But Machiavelli saw the third level, the operational reality, where the truly powerful live. And that's where we're going next. Drop this in the comments. I see through the illusion. Society operates on 3 levels of truth. Most people never see past the first level. They live their whole lives believing a fairy tale. Some people wake up and reach the second level. They think they figured it out, but they're still wrong, just differently wrong. The truly powerful operate on the third level, and once you understand all 3 levels, you'll never see the world the same way again. Right now, you're playing a game where you don't even know the rules. Let me show you the 3 levels. Layer 1 is the public illusion. This is what everyone believes. This is the fairy tale version of reality. Work hard and you'll succeed. Be honest and people will respect you. Play by the rules and you'll be protected. Good people win in the end. The system is fair. Authority figures have your best interest at heart. This is what they teach you in school. This is what your parents told you. This is what society wants you to believe. And it's a complete lie, but it's a useful lie. It keeps society stable. It makes people compliant. It creates predictable behavior. If everyone believes the fairy tale, everyone stays in line. Nobody rocks the boat. Nobody questions authority. Nobody challenges the system. Those who believe this layer are the easiest to control. They follow all the rules while others break them. They share everything while others keep secrets. They trust everyone while others study everyone. Think about the advice you were given growing up. Study hard, get good grades, go to college, get a good job. Work your way up, be loyal to the company. Who benefits from this belief? Not you. The system benefits, the company benefits. But here's the truth. While you're being loyal to the company is loyal to profits. While you're following all the rules, others are making the rules. While you're being honest and transparent, others are being strategic and selective. Let me give you an example. An employee believes in loyalty. He works hard. He stays late. He gives everything to the company. He thinks his dedication will be rewarded. Then the company has a bad quarter. They need to cut costs. Who gets laid off? The loyal employee. Why? Because loyalty is just a word. Business is business. The company never promised loyalty back, they just accepted his. He played by layer 1 rules. They operated on layer 3. This is the trap. You're taught to be an open book while others hide their pages. You're taught to follow rules while others write rules. You're taught to be fair while others stack the deck. Layer 1 is designed to keep you predictable, manageable, and powerless. Machiavelli said it perfectly. The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present. The fairy tale keeps you in place, and that's exactly why they teach it. Now some people wake up, they see through layer 1, they reach layer 2, the cynical truth. These are the people who say everyone's selfish, nobody can be trusted. It's dog eat dog, the world is cruel, everyone's out for themselves. This feels like enlightenment. Finally, you see the truth. You're not naive anymore, you're awake, you're aware. But here's the problem. Layer 2 is still wrong. It's just a different kind of wrong. Pure cynicism makes you paranoid. You start seeing enemies everywhere. You trust nobody. You assume everyone has bad intentions. You become angry, you become bitter, you become isolated. And bitter, angry, paranoid people are still controllable. They're just controlled differently. They're controlled by fear instead of hope. They're controlled by anger instead of trust. They're still reacting to the world instead of creating their reality. They went from naive to negative. Neither position gives them power. Think about someone who gets betrayed and becomes bitter. They stop trusting anyone. They push everyone away. They assume the worst about everyone. Are they powerful? No. They're wounded. They're reactive. They're trapped by their own pain. They traded one prison for another. Layer 1 was a prison of naivety. Layer 2 is a prison of cynicism, different walls, same cage. Here's what people at layer 2 don't understand. The world isn't good versus evil. It's not honest people versus liars. It's not loyalty versus betrayal. Those are still layer 1 concepts. They're still playing the wrong game. Machiavelli didn't stop at cynicism. He went deeper. He reached layer 3. The operational reality. Layer 3 is where the truly powerful live, and it's completely different from what you expect. Layer 3 understands that the world isn't good or evil. It's strategic versus emotional. It's intentional versus reactive. It's aware versus asleep. Power flows to those who understand this. The people at layer 3 aren't cynical. They're clear. They're not paranoid. They're prepared. They're not bitter. They're strategic. Here's how layer 3 actually works. Successful people use both goodness and strategy. They don't reject kindness. They use it strategically. They don't avoid honesty. They deploy it selectively. They understand that context determines behavior. What works in one situation fails in another. What's right with one person is wrong with another. They're not one-dimensional. They're adaptive. They have a public mask and a private calculation. Not because they're evil, because they're intelligent. Every interaction is an exchange. Every relationship has a power dynamic. Every situation has hidden incentives. Those who see this aren't cynical, they're realistic. Those who understand this aren't manipulative, they're aware. Those who operate here aren't cruel, they're effective. This is the difference. Layer 1 people react with emotion. Layer 2 people react with anger. Layer 3 people respond with strategy. Machiavelli said it best. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. This isn't about deception. This is about survival. You must operate where reality actually exists. Not where you wish it existed. Not where you were told it existed. Where it actually exists. Layer 3 is reality. Layer 1 and 2 are illusions. Different illusions. Same blindness. Most people never reach layer 3. They stay at layer 1 until life beats them down. Then they move to layer 2 and stay bitter forever. They never understand that there's a third option, a better option. Strategic wisdom instead of naive trust. Clear vision instead of blind cynicism. Intentional action instead of emotional reaction. This is where power lives. This is where control lives. This is where freedom lives. Now you understand the 3 layers. You can't go back. You can't unknow this. The question is, which layer will you choose to operate on? Will you stay naive at layer 1? Will you become bitter at layer 2? Or will you become strategic at layer 3? Drop this in the comments. I operate in reality, not fantasy. Now let me show you Machiavelli's 7 specific warnings. These are the patterns he saw, the traps he identified, the dangers he tried to warn us about. Pay attention, because your life is about to make a lot more sense. Right now, someone is watching you. They're analyzing your patterns. They're noting your weaknesses. They're studying how you react. And you have no idea it's happening. Your boss watches how you respond to criticism. Your coworkers see what makes you uncomfortable. Your competitors track your every move. Your friends know exactly which buttons to push. While you're being authentic and real, they're taking notes. While you're just being yourself, they're building a profile of you. While you're living your life, they're learning how to control it. This is information asymmetry, and it's the most dangerous power imbalance in the world. They know everything about you, you know nothing about them. They've studied your patterns. You haven't studied theirs. They know your triggers. You don't know theirs. Who has the power in that situation? Not you. Think about a job interview. They've researched everything about you. They've read your resume 10 times. They've checked your social media. They've prepared questions designed to expose your weaknesses. They know your work history, your education, your gaps in employment. But what do you know about them? Maybe the company name. Maybe what you read on their website. They walk in with a complete map of who you are. You walk in blind. That's not a fair fight, that's a massacre. Or think about negotiations. One person spends weeks researching. They know the market value. They know your alternatives. They know your pressure points. The other person shows up unprepared. They wing it. They figure they'll just be honest and fair. Who gets the better deal? Always the person who did their homework. Always the person who studied while the other person relaxed. This happens in relationships too. One person pays attention. They notice patterns. They see what makes you happy, what makes you sad, what makes you angry, what makes you weak. The other person is just living in the moment, just being real, just being themselves. Then one day they wonder why they always lose every argument, why the other person always seems 3 steps ahead, because they were being studied while they were being oblivious. Machiavelli said it perfectly. Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand. For everyone can see and few can feel. Everyone is watching you, few are watching them back. This is the game. While you're being transparent, they're being selective. While you're revealing everything, they're revealing nothing. While you're being an open book, they're staying a locked safe. Every pattern you show is a weapon they can use against you. Every habit you have is a vulnerability they can exploit. Every reaction you give is information they can store. The person who sees without being seen wins. The person who studies without being studied controls. The person who learns while staying mysterious has all the power. You need to flip this script. Stop being the one who gets analyzed. Start being the one who analyzes. Watch people before you engage them. Study their patterns before you reveal yours. Learn their moves before you make yours. Become an observer first and a participant second. Drop this in the comments. I observe more than I reveal. Being yourself is the worst advice anyone ever gave you. Not because you should be fake, but because being the same person in every situation makes you controllable. Your consistency is your prison, and you built it yourself. People love consistency, but not for your benefit, for theirs. When you're predictable, you're manageable. When they know exactly how you'll react, they can control your reactions. When they know you'll always say yes, they stop respecting your no. You think you're being authentic. Really, you're being simple. And simple people are easy to use. Think about the reliable person at work. Always stays late. Always takes on extra projects. Always helps everyone. What happens to that person? They get more work. Not more pay, not more respect, just more work. Why? Because everyone knows they'll say yes. That person's consistency became their burden. They can't say no now without seeming like they've changed. They trap themselves in a role, the helpful one, the reliable one, the doormat. Or think about the person who's always nice, never confrontational, never angry, always understanding. What happens when they finally stand up for themselves? People get shocked. That's not like you. What's wrong with you? You've changed. They get punished for breaking character. Their own consistency created expectations they can't escape. They're trapped in being nice even when nice is destroying them. Here's the truth. Humans are complex, but roles are simple. When you play the same role everywhere, you limit yourself. The funny friend can't be serious, the strong one can't show weakness, the quiet one can't speak up. The leader can't admit confusion. Each identity is a cage, and once people put you in that cage, they fight to keep you there. Because your consistency makes their life easier. They know what to expect, they know how to treat you, they know which version of you shows up. Your predictability is their convenience. But unpredictability is power. When people can't figure you out, they pay attention. When you show different sides, they stay alert. When you break your patterns, they start respecting you. The person who's always nice becomes powerful the moment they show teeth. The quiet person dominates when they suddenly speak. The funny person gets taken seriously when they drop the jokes. Breaking your own pattern creates shock value, and shock creates respect. Machiavelli understood this completely. A prince ought to take care that he never lets anything slip from his lips that is not replete with the above-named 5 qualities. Different faces for different places. Not because you're fake, because you're strategic. You don't have to be the same person with your boss, your friends, your family, and your enemies. That's not authenticity. That's stupidity. Adapt to your environment. Show different sides to different people. Keep them guessing. Keep them wondering. Keep them unable to predict your next move. Your consistency is their control over you. Break it. Be unpredictable. Be adaptive. Be impossible to pin down. That's not being fake. That's being free. Drop this in the comments. I choose adaptability over predictability. Here's something nobody wants to admit. Some people in your life need you to fail. Not everyone wants you to win. In fact, your success makes them uncomfortable. Your growth threatens them. Your progress exposes their stagnation. They need you weak so they can feel strong. This is the most painful truth you'll ever face, because these aren't strangers. These are people close to you, family members, friends, co-workers, sometimes even your partner. They say they support you. They claim they want what's best for you. But watch what happens when you actually start winning. Watch how they react when you level up. The mask drops. The truth shows. Most people's confidence comes from comparison. They feel big by keeping you small. They feel successful by watching you struggle. They feel secure by knowing you're below them. Your weakness validates their position. Your failure justifies their choices. When you stay down, they stay comfortable. But the moment you start rising, everything changes. Listen to how they talk. Are you sure you can handle that? That's not concern. That's doubt disguised as care. Maybe you should wait. That's not wisdom. That's fear that you'll leave them behind. That's not really you. That's not honest feedback. That's them trying to keep you in the box they built for you. Don't get your hopes up. That's not protecting you from disappointment. That's protecting themselves from your success. Family members feel threatened by your growth. You're changing the family dynamic. You're breaking the pattern. You're showing them what's possible, and that makes them face what they didn't do. Friends who feel left behind become toxic. They don't celebrate your wins. They question them. They minimize them. They find flaws in your success. Co-workers competing for the same position become saboteurs. They spread rumors. They undermine your work. They smile to your face and scheme behind your back. Even partners can sabotage you. If you're growing and they're not, the power balance shifts. They feel it. They fear it. So they try to slow you down. They create drama right before your big opportunity. They need extra attention right when you need to focus. They pick fights during your important moments. Not always consciously. Sometimes they don't even realize they're doing it. But the pattern is clear. Your growth threatens the relationship's equilibrium, and they'll sacrifice your growth to maintain their comfort. Machiavelli saw this clearly. Men are so simple and so much dominated by their immediate needs that a deceiver will never lack victims for his deceptions. People will sacrifice your future for their present comfort. They'll kill your dreams to keep their peace. They'll chain you down to keep themselves company. Here's what you need to understand. Success is a filter. It reveals who is truly with you. Growth separates real supporters from fake friends. Your ascent is everyone's test. Some will celebrate and rise with you. Most will resent and try to pull you back. Let them go. Your loyalty to your own growth matters more than their comfort with your stagnation. Stop announcing your plans to people who benefit from you staying small. Build in silence. Win in private. Let your results do the talking. And when people ask why you changed, tell them the truth. You didn't change. You just stopped shrinking to make them comfortable. Drop this in the comments. I outgrow people without guilt. Being kind to bad people makes you responsible for their next victim. Your mercy doesn't just affect you. It affects everyone around you. When you refuse to stop a wolf, you're feeding its sheep. When you tolerate toxic behavior, you're enabling destruction. Sometimes the kind thing looks cruel, and sometimes the cruel thing is actually kind. Not everyone deserves your compassion. This sounds harsh, but it's true. Some people interpret kindness as weakness. Some people see forgiveness as permission to do it again. Some people will never change no matter how many chances you give them. And while you're being understanding and patient, they're creating victims everywhere they go. Think about a toxic employee. Everyone knows they're the problem. They create drama, they undermine the team, they make everyone miserable. But the boss won't fire them. Why? Because the boss is being merciful, being understanding, giving them another chance. Meanwhile, the entire team suffers. Good employees quit. Morale dies, productivity drops. The boss thinks they're being kind to one person. Really, they're being cruel to everyone else. Mercy to the wolf is cruelty to the sheep. Or think about the family member who's always causing problems. They lie, they steal, they manipulate. But the family keeps forgiving them, keeps letting them back in, keeps giving them opportunities to hurt people. And they do. They hurt everyone, over and over. The family thinks they're showing love. Really, they're enabling abuse. Every person that toxic family member hurts is the family's responsibility, because they had the power to stop it and chose mercy instead. Here's what people don't understand. Forgiveness without consequences teaches nothing. Second chances without change just delay the inevitable. Mercy to people who haven't earned it creates more damage than accountability ever could. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is cut someone off. Sometimes protecting the innocent requires removing the guilty. Sometimes short-term pain prevents long-term destruction. Leaders understand this. Parents understand this. Anyone responsible for others understands this. You can't keep everyone happy. You can't save everyone. Sometimes you have to choose. And if you have to choose between protecting one toxic person or protecting 10 good people, the choice is obvious. Protect the many. Let the one go. Machiavelli said it clearly. A prince should not worry about the charge of cruelty when it keeps subjects united and loyal. Decisive action prevents larger suffering. One hard cut saves 100 slow bleeds. One difficult firing saves an entire team. One boundary saves everyone's peace. People will call you harsh. They'll say you're not giving chances. They'll accuse you of being cold. Let them. Because you're not being cruel. You're being responsible. You're protecting the people who deserve protection. You're stopping the people who need stopping. Stop feeling guilty for cutting off toxic people. Stop apologizing for protecting yourself and others. Stop letting wolves roam free because you're afraid to look mean. Your mercy to destructive people is cruelty to everyone else. Choose wisely. Drop this in the comments. I protect the many over the one. Power abhors a vacuum. If you don't take space, someone else will. If you don't lead, you'll be led. If you don't define yourself, you'll be defined. Passivity is not neutrality, it's surrender. And someone is always in control. The only question is whether it's you. Every group has a hierarchy. Every relationship has a power dynamic. Every room has someone calling the shots. Even in equal partnerships, someone's leading more than the other. Even in democratic teams, someone's voice matters more. Even in casual friendships, someone sets the tone. This isn't bad. This is reality. Someone is always steering the ship. And if you're not steering, you're just along for the ride. Think about friend groups. There's always someone who decides where you go, what you do, what's acceptable and what's not. They don't announce it. They don't declare themselves leader. But everyone knows. Everyone follows. That person took the throne by simply sitting in it. They claimed the space while others hesitated. Now they control the dynamic, and everyone else just reacts to them. Think about meetings at work. Who speaks first? Whose opinion gets the most weight? Who sets the agenda? It's not always the boss. Sometimes it's the person with the most confidence, the person willing to take space, the person who acts like they belong there. They took the throne by believing it was theirs. Nobody gave them permission. They just took it. In relationships, who decides where you eat? Who picks the movie? Who determines when you see each other? Who sets the emotional tone? Someone is leading, someone is following. If you're not consciously choosing to lead sometimes, you're unconsciously choosing to follow always. Your silence is their permission. Your passivity is their power. Here's what most people don't realize. If you don't make decisions, you accept someone else's decisions. If you don't speak up, someone speaks for you. If you don't take your position, someone positions you. Silence is agreement. Invisibility is irrelevance. The world doesn't reward those who wait politely for their turn. It rewards those who take their seat. People avoid power because they fear responsibility. They fear judgment. They fear failure. They think staying small keeps them safe. But powerlessness is not safety. It's vulnerability. When you control nothing, everything controls you. When you lead nowhere, you're led everywhere. When you claim no space, every space claims you. Machiavelli understood this perfectly. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Not about cruelty, about presence, about commanding your own life. You don't have to dominate everyone, but you must dominate your own existence. You don't have to control every room, but you must control your corner of it. Take your seat. Speak first. Make decisions. Own your space. The throne is never empty. Someone will sit there. Make sure it's you. Drop this in the comments. I claim my power unapologetically. Loyalty is temporary. People stay while it benefits them. The moment circumstances change, so do allegiances. Your mentor will protect you until you threaten them. Your friend supports you until jealousy kicks in. Your partner stays until someone better appears. This isn't cynicism, this is pattern recognition. People are self-interested, not evil, just human. They act in their own interest, and their interest changes. What serves them today might not serve them tomorrow. When that changes, they change. You're useful until you're not, then you're disposable, and they'll justify it however they need to. Business partnerships end in lawsuits. Best friends become bitter enemies. Families destroy each other over inheritance. Political allies turn on each other. Mentors sabotage students who surpass them. It happens everywhere, all the time. The person who swore loyalty last year is the person plotting against you this year. Why? Because their situation changed. Their needs changed. And you're no longer useful to their new position. Think about work. Your coworker is your friend. You help each other. You trust each other. Then a promotion opens up. Suddenly you're competitors. Suddenly they're undermining you. Suddenly they're taking credit for your work. What happened? They changed? No. The circumstances changed. And people follow their interests, not their promises. Think about friendships. You grow up together. You're inseparable. Then you start succeeding, making more money, getting opportunities. Suddenly they're distant, critical, making passive-aggressive comments. The friendship dies. Why? Because your success made them face their stagnation. You became a mirror of what they're not doing, and they resent mirrors. Machiavelli warned us. Friendships that are obtained by payments may be secured but not retained. People stay for benefits. When benefits end, so does loyalty. When the situation shifts, so do sides. Permanent alliances don't exist. Only permanent interests exist. So what do? Never make yourself completely dependent. Always have alternatives. Prepare for betrayal without being paranoid. Trust, but verify. Hope for the best. Plan for the worst. Build leverage. Make yourself valuable. Create situations where betraying you hurts them more than helping you benefits them. Diversify your relationships. Don't put all your trust in one person. Don't build your entire life around one opportunity. Don't make yourself completely reliant on anyone. Keep options. Maintain connections. Stay valuable in multiple places. That way, when someone leaves, you're not destroyed, you're just inconvenienced. Watch for changes in behavior. When someone starts acting different, ask why. When someone becomes distant, investigate. When someone's interests shift, adjust accordingly. Don't be shocked when allies become enemies. Be prepared, and when it happens, don't waste energy on anger. Replace and move forward. The game doesn't pause for broken promises. Drop this in the comments. I prepare for change without fear. This is the darkest truth Machiavelli ever revealed. Most people don't want freedom. They want safety. They don't want power. They want certainty. They don't want truth. They want comfort. And they'll trade everything, their liberty, their potential, their future, for the feeling of security. They'll accept chains as long as the chains feel comfortable. And they'll thank you for putting them on. People prefer comfortable slavery to dangerous freedom. This sounds extreme, but watch the world. Watch how people live. They hate their jobs but never quit. They complain about the system but demand more system. They know they're being controlled, but beg for more control. Why? Because freedom is scary. Freedom means responsibility. Freedom means decisions. Freedom means risk. And most people would rather be safely miserable than dangerously free. This is how control works. Give people entertainment, keep them distracted, give them small choices so they feel free. Let them pick between option A and option B. They'll never notice you controlled both options. Give them external enemies, keep them afraid, united against a threat. They'll accept any restriction as long as it promises safety. Make systems complex, keep them confused, too complicated to understand, too overwhelming to challenge. They'll thank you for managing their lives because figuring it out themselves is exhausting. Look at employees who complain constantly but never leave. They hate their boss, they're underpaid, they're overworked, they're miserable, but they stay. Why? Because the known misery is safer than the unknown possibility. The chains are familiar, the cage is comfortable. Leaving means risk, staying means certainty. They choose the chains, every single day, and they blame everyone except themselves. Look at people who hate their government but demand more government. They complain about control but beg for more rules. more regulations, more oversight, more management. Why? Because having someone else make decisions is easier than making them yourself. Having someone else responsible is safer than being responsible yourself. They trade freedom for the illusion of safety, and they don't even realize they're doing it. Here's the most disturbing part. You might be doing this to yourself. I can't because I have responsibilities. That's a chain you're choosing. That's not realistic for someone like me. That's a cage you're building. I'm not that kind of person. That's a prison you're accepting. Better to be safe than sorry. That's freedom you're surrendering. You've become your own jailer, and you're thanking yourself for it. Machiavelli saw this clearly. Men are so simple and so much inclined to obey immediate needs that a deceiver will never lack victims for his deceptions. The best slaves are those who don't know they're slaves. The strongest chains are those you can't see. The most effective prison is the one you build yourself. Most people will never escape. They'll live their entire lives in comfortable chains. They'll die having never been truly free. Because freedom requires discomfort, growth requires risk, change requires courage. And most people choose comfort over freedom, safety over growth, certainty over possibility. Every single time. But you're different. You watch this video, you read this far, you're willing to face uncomfortable truths. Now you have a choice. Stay in your comfortable chains, or break them. Risk the unknown. Choose dangerous freedom over safe slavery. Most won't make this choice. That's why most never escape. Drop this in the comments. I choose freedom over comfort. Now you know. You know what Machiavelli tried to warn us about 500 years ago. You know why they banned his book. You know why the powerful condemned it publicly while studying it privately. Because knowledge is power. And they didn't want you to have this power. Let me remind you what you just learned. They're studying you while you're ignoring them. Your consistency is your prison. They need you weak to feel strong. Mercy to wolves is cruelty to sheep. The throne is never empty. Today's ally is tomorrow's enemy. And most disturbing of all, people will thank you for their chains. These aren't theories. These aren't philosophical concepts. These are patterns operating in your life right now, today. This moment. You see them now. In your workplace, in your relationships, in your family, in society. The game that was invisible is now obvious. The manipulation you couldn't see is now clear. The patterns you didn't recognize are now everywhere. You can't unsee this. You can't go back to comfortable ignorance. The matrix is revealed. And now you have a choice to make. You have 3 paths forward. Choose carefully. Because this choice determines everything. Path 1 is denial. Reject this as too dark, too negative, too cynical. Go back to believing the fairy tale. Tell yourself the world isn't really like this. Tell yourself people are basically good. Tell yourself if you just keep being nice, everything will work out. This path feels comfortable. It feels safe. It feels right. Until reality crushes you. Until you get betrayed again.